Divine greetings, beloveds. I've shared about the chaos and the controversy. Now I want to share more about the solution. Welcome, beloveds. I am Tanya Melendez, creator of Chart and Soul Astrology, and I want to share with you some insight about the recent controversy and that chaos. So let's get into it. First of all, there was a very prominent older white man who said some very disparaging things, and the astrology world is on fire with this. Why? For a couple of reasons. Because astrology, again, Western astrology, has been so prominent in the last few years. More and more people are using astrology for their personal life as well as their business. Astrocartography has blown up and so much. But if you've been following me, you know I've been talking about astrology for years because it is a part of who I am. I am triple Cancer, or actually I have a Cancer stellium, and I'm on the cusp of Leo. And in saying all of that, astrology has been something that I have always led with. In fact, I saw a recent one of those Facebook memory videos of 11 years ago when I had just come back from living in Spain and really getting in and talking about that. But I digress. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I've been talking the same things and sharing so many insights and inspiration over the years. And so what this controversy is truly about is Western astrology and the people that we consider the pioneers, people that we put up on pedestals, people that we pay hundreds of dollars to not only take their courses but follow them and see them in conferences, said something very disparaging, especially to the Black community. And this is the difficult part, because I was actually signed up for a class, the Jupiter and Leo, and I just had to just shut it down, because the fact that he would say the N-word, the fact that they kept it in and didn't edit it out, it really led me to really take a deeper look at astrology as a whole. And I say all this because we have been very conditioned to Western astrology. People are now finding out about, whole sign and Hellenistic and Babylonian and medical astrology and Vedic astrology and so many different types of astrology, but nobody really talks about Kemetic astrology. I do, and there are a few other women of color that I know and people of color that talk about Kemetic astrology. And side note, little fact, did you know that beloved Zora Neale Hurston, before her passing, one of the things that she did, she was one of the first Black women to have horoscopes published in a newspaper. She was one of the first in the United States, I should say, who had horoscopes published in a newspaper. She did this at the later time of her life to support her with financial means, and it is documented that she did write astrology. She wrote horoscopes back in the early days, and so we need to acknowledge that there are very pronounced Black people of color as well, who have been talking about astrology long before it became pop astrology, and including Frank Black from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He was actually the one who helped Earth, Wind, and Fire with their name. Again, that is astrology, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Those are the elements. But again, I digress. Why I'm bringing this up and the solution is we need to follow and make sure we are vetting astrologers of color, myself included, but there's several, more out there. And the reason I say vet it, and I did talk about this in the earlier video that I did post in YouTube, we want to say vet it because you don't want AI slop. You don't want somebody who's never had a Saturn return yet, under 29, telling you life suggestions and advice when they haven't had a Saturn return, because Saturn is a huge experience. We have one at 29. We don't have another one until 58. So that tells you that when you are working with someone who does not know, hasn't had a Saturn return, they really don't know much. I, in fact, believe that astrology is for you when you get older, because as a child, there are, different stages and ages, cycles and seasons that we go through. And who you are as a child is still, the brain is still growing. And so the astrology teaches you a little bit about your personality, inward and outward. But it's not until after 29 that you can start actually applying it. It's not until 36 that you have a major Lilith return and can really understand what is occurring when you're wanting to make those big life changes. And so one of the solutions is I am on the hype team for one of my beloved friends, Leslie Tagora, B-Starred Astrology. Follow her over there on Instagram. And she's got a new book coming out called Astrology for ChangeMakers. And I know I'm one of those. I am a change maker, and she is a woman of color. And so I'll be sharing the link below how you can go ahead and pre-order her book right now. Because the more of us who get behind people of color that are astrologers as well, we show the world that there is more than pop astrology and the perspective of older white astrologers. And this goes across the board. All Western astrology is based on Greek mythology, but the real astrology, and I saw it myself when I was in Egypt, ancient Kemet, that it is literally written all over the walls in Egypt. It is literally on every ceiling, on every wall. It is written that the stars were so important. And this then leads me to the Lion's Gate. This Lion's Gate controversy has just gotten out of hand. It has become such a capitalized experience that people don't even recognize that there is a very spiritual and ancient African, aka Kemetic, experience, spiritual ancestral experience with the Lion's Gate. This isn't about you manifesting what you want and all this kind of thing. In fact, it is a very deep spiritual practice. It was in ancient Kemet during the time that the Nile would flood, the Sirius star would shine its brightest, the harvest would be in most full bloom, that the Sirius Lion's Gate energy opened. When I was there and got to see what they call the Sphinx, the great lion, right? I got to be there and feel that energy. And there are actual lions all over Egypt. So it wasn't just one lion. There are thousands of lions all over Egypt. And that was purposeful, right? And so this Lion's Gate is not what you think it is. It is a spiritual recognition, a spiritual reckoning and reawakening time. In fact, this time was considered the Nile New Year because it would flood and bring the rich soil and bring the riches that people could then harvest throughout the rest of the year. And so this is why we need to make sure we are working with astrologers of color as well. And you can tell someone who's a pop astrologer versus someone who is a studied astrologer by what they talk about. Have they been talking about it for a long time? And I'm not trying to put anybody down. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I am trying to do is make sure that you are working with people who haven't just read a couple of books, taken a couple of classes. If they are giving you advice on your life, you want to know where they got that knowledge. What is their practice around this? Would you go to a doctor who just said, oh, I read a couple of books and now I'm going to operate on you? You would not. But you are putting your life in the hands of somebody who might have gotten their information off of Instagram or off of, using AI. And I do not want that for us. We are bright, intelligent people, and we have more knowledge in our hands now than ever before. And so as a librarian, I can always considered myself a keeper of knowledge, a keeper of secrets. And not secrets like I know something more than you, but ancient knowledge like I just shared with you. And so this is why it is so important that we really start paying attention to who we are getting our information, who we're getting our insights that impact and affect our life from. And this is why we're seeing the end of the influencer era, because who are these people, right? Just because they've got some fancy clothes and name brand and spending money doesn't make them important. Think about what the word influence means. Who are you letting influence you? Even the word follower. This is why I did not miss being off of social media, but this is exactly why Spirit said you need to be back on, because you have a voice and you have a vision and you have a mission. And that is what I am here to share with you. And now the chaos. I don't know if you know, but I did share this in the earlier video this week, that they have blasted a rocket to the moon. We will be feeling this, beloveds, because we do not know, and they do not know, the ramifications of their actions. So I will be sharing a very special yoga experience this weekend, and I will be sending out the link. Again, I'm not using AI bots to do this, and so you can look in my link in bio, join the community there. I'll be sending it out in an email as well, so you can get into this experience of yoga through the body as we allow and align with this 8-8 frequency. So that's numerology, that's astrology, that's using the body, being in the body, and connecting to our higher self. So I'm sending you so much love and light, and comment below if you would like to get this link so you can join me this weekend. I'm still working out the kinks here, but I will be sending out the link. So comment this weekend, 8-8 Lionsgate, if you would like to join me for this special experience. And again, this is my gift to you, because I am here as always to serve, share, and shine. So I'm sending you so much love and light from my heart to yours. And until next time, beloveds, peace and blessings.